You have both feet flat on the floor, about a hip's width apart. And just bring your attention down to the sensations of the feet. And just very gently, bring your mind to the same place your body is. And just feel the weight of your hands in your lap. Feel the backs of the legs on the chair, or if you're sitting cross-legged, there'll be, each foot will be touching the back of the leg or the calf, or however you're sitting, if you're sitting cross-legged. And feel the weight of the pelvis and the sits bones in the chair. And align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders. And imagine your spine is a beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up to the crown of the head and beyond. So just lengthen your spine. And then go to the crown of your head and see if you can now feel any sensation at the crown of the head. And relax your scalp and your forehead and eyebrows, eyes, the back of the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, back of the tongue, the jaw, the ears and the inner ear, back of the head. Lengthen your neck and allow your shoulders and your shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And then be aware of the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale. Through the nostrils, around the chest cavity, at the belly. And then be aware of any sounds in your environment, just allowing those sounds to be there, trying not to follow them with the mind. And then bring your attention to the thoughts that are rising in your mind right now. Maybe you're reflecting on something that you've read or you've discussed today, or you've seen in an email, or you've seen on the news. Maybe there are some thoughts about the future, the past, some anxiety about something that probably might not happen. And just watch as those thoughts bubble up and arise and abide, and then just dissolve. And then just bring to mind the people of your life. So you could start with the ones you love. Just bring just their face to your mind. Maybe you remember the sound of their voice. And then think about the people that you don't like very much, or who maybe they've harmed you in a way. And then our strangers, complete strangers, the ones we neither like nor dislike, that we just don't really care about. And then due to impermanence, these relationships can change. And they can change place. Regardless of how any of us think about anyone at this point in time, they're all equal. They want to be happy, they don't want to suffer, and they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we'll do this practice this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all the sentient beings. So we start by thinking there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification practice is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind, and equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. Excuse me. So we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And so think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then in general, regret all. And then the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. We know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think, I regret from the depths of my heart, having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then we think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then we think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So then here we come to this power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're not looking for that. We purify ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long. They're shaped like lotus petals, and they're very peaceful. And they're full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. They have, Buddha Vajrasattva has no judgment, no comparing you with another, no criticism. So his arms are crossed at his heart. The left is underneath the right. The left is holding a bell, and this represents wisdom. And the right is holding a vajra, and this represents the indestructibility of compassion. And when they're crossed like this, it represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then we think about those who have harmed you, harmed us, and especially have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result a suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power remedy, and this is the meditation, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. So Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, light coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted at all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body. Except this time forcing up to the top of the body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows quite forcefully and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying, talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta me boa sawasiti me piyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Ambhadra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mebiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Ambhadra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mebiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Ambhadra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mebiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Ambhadra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Ambhadra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine that it's not possible you could do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on the switch and the light comes instantly. So the moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment and neediness and bitterness and grudges and jealousy and disappointment, anxiety, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta me boa sawasidi me piyata sawa kamasita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Ambhadrasafa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Petita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted at all our delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. And so this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. So how this happens is the nectar flows down, pushing out all the negativity of the body. Then the nectar flows up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech, and then the light comes and just blasts all of the delusions. This is happening all at the same time, and also at the same time, you're reciting the mantra. So this is how it eradicates even the very subtle imprints of negative energy from the consciousness. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sutukaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Jida Meboa, Sutukaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment has been removed. And then now we come to this power of resolve, and this is the fourth and the final step in the purification process, and it's really crucial. This step, this decision we make, it's like a determination. I will not harm with my body and my speech and my mind. And if that sounds too risky, too promise that to yourself. You can say, I aspire to refrain from harming with my body and my speech and my mind. Because without making any kind of a determination, without making any kind of a decision, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again, same old habit energy patterns. So this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming is like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So Rinpoche used to talk about everything being on the tip of the wishes, the aspiration. We aspire, we decide, then we make a plan. So the plan can be, whatever level you're at. 5 minutes in a day, think about something. Decide you're going to refrain from something for 2 days. You can decide how you want to do it. But we have to start somewhere. Very, very small steps. Start humbly, tiny little steps. Just keep moving in the right direction, though. So Vajrasattva is very delighted with us, wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. You can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. Okay, so let's do chanting the names of Manjushri. The blazing energy of all the Buddhas, with bodies fully shared by all the Buddhas, the highest union formed with all the Buddhas, the single teaching taught by all the Buddhas, most glorious with Vajraratna's blessing, the highest sovereign Lord of Savaratna, the King Supreme of Savalokeshvara, the Lord on high of Sava Vajradhara, the quintessential mind of Sava Buddha, residing in the mind of every Buddha, the greatest body born by every Buddha, the lovely speech enriching every Buddha. Okay, everybody, let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for a swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your own individual teachers to have long, happy, healthy, delightful lives. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Shayla. See some of you tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Pacific. If you want to come along, we'll do another little meditation there. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Lots of love.